dance friends, and welcome to my channel. Today I get to visit with Raphaella Lua. Raphaella is an internationally renowned instructor in choreography in both Tribal Fusion and American Cabaret belly dance. She fuses hip-hop, Brazilian dance, many Latin ballroom dances, modern dance, and other dance form inspirations to create her own very unique and fiery style. She recently went to Brazil for a whole 4 years for dance studies and is now based out of Houston, Texas. On top of being a world-renowned and highly sought-after instructor, Raphaella is also a certified Hatha yoga instructor and is continuing her health studies in physical therapy. Today we get to chat about Raphaella's dance journey. She mentions some of her biggest dance inspirations. She tells us a little bit about her travels and experiences in Brazil. And we also chat about what it's like to be a new mom as a professional dancer. So without further ado, here's Raphaella. Hello, Raphaella.
Hello.
I am very excited to chat with you today about your belly dance background. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today.
Of course, man, of course. Well, I got into belly dance back in 2004, I believe. I didn't start off in belly dance with my dance career. I actually started off as a little prima ballerina. And then I went into the international style of Latin ballroom dance. And my mother is actually, she was a professional ballroom dancer in the Latin division. And so she was actually my instructor. Then living, of course, in Chicago, being around the city, how could you not fall into hip hop, right? And go to all of the battles and fall into that. So then, of course, so they've got the ballet, then you've got the international Latin style dancing, and then you've got the hip hop and the breaking and the locking and all of that. So that's where I morphed into. And then finally, when I went to Purdue University for college, I came across belly dancing and I just fell in love with it. And you'll never guess how I came across it. It's not a glamorous story like you hear like, oh, I was at, this festival and this amazing dancer came out and blah, 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 blah. No, I was poor and hungry and I had no money and I saw a flyer that said free pizza, belly dance, call out. But hey, I walked in and as I was stuffing my face with pizza, I almost spit it out because I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, I need to know more of this. My first belly dance instructor, my belly dance mama, her name is Amira Sharif, and she's actually a physics professor. So her style of teaching, that was ingrained in me. That's how I teach. And she is also a musician who plays with Il Troubadour. There are a lot of the different dance festivals too. So they were like, mama, papa, all integrated into one. So I struck out. I won the lottery on that one. So I first picked up American Cabaret style, and then American Tribal style, and then Fusion.
So you found it and then you just like fiercely grasped onto it and didn't go.
It was like a torrid love affair. I mean, that's why I call it my other spouse. It really was. So like right now there's my husband and there's dance. There's the babies on top. It's, all I can think about, eat, breathe, and sleep dance just on videos 24/7. And then when I came across, because you always remember that first fusion video where you're just like your jaw drops and your eyes melt out of your head, right? For me, I think it was from the Monte Carlo DVD of Sharon Kahara when she was dancing to the Amon Tobin song. And I'm just like, when she has that just stare on her face where you don't know if she's going to devour you or eat you alive or like try to seduce you. And I fell in love, just goosebumps all around. That was it. It was over for me. So even when I graduated college and I was working in the corporate world, doing all that, I was still doing dance full time too. So I would wake up in the morning, do my stretches and all of that, and then I would go to my corporate job. But during lunch, I would head over to the gym and I would work on the choreographies. And then after, I would go teach courses, teach classes, and then perform at night. So it was basically 2 full-time jobs, but I loved it and I couldn't get enough of it. So even though I stayed on my arse, I couldn't stop. Yeah, that's how I got into belly dance. I was porn hungry. It's therapy. It's beautiful.
Oh my God, I feel the same way. So we already heard about some of your dance inspirations. Are there any other influencers in your life or throughout your dance journey that you could just name off the top of your head?
Completely. So in regards to the urban fusion side, I definitely contemporary hip hop for me. So Keone Madrid, I love Keone Madrid, and Mari as well. And there's Paris Goebel. Oh, love her. Philip Sheeb's another one, just amazing. Oh, duh, of course. The Godfather himself, Poppin' John. I met him in person actually. He's just the best. Yeah, if anyone comes across and they want to work on their popping more, look up Poppin' John. Like, he's amazing. He's been well known for a long time. He's just like up here, like everyone just looks up to him. For Latin ballroom, oh my goodness, of course there's Tony Meredith and Melanie LaPatin, and then Yulia Zagarushenko, I think that's her last name. For fusion, it's always been for me Sharon Kahara, of course, just boom, boom, boom. Donna Mejia, yes. Amy Sigil, just holy crap, those two aside from anything else. Donna and Amy, they pull like shit out of me that I didn't even know was there. Like they're able to crack me open like a walnut. My body and brain combine, and the stuff that they manage to pull out of me is just incredible. They unleash my creativity like none other. And finally, for fusion, Piney Orchiadei, she's really cool. She's amazing. And I think she was actually a former B-girl. So yeah. And then I'd say for the traditional genres of belly dance, so there's a few Brazilian dancers, actually 3 off the top of my head. Dara Hamad, Natalia Piassi, she travels I think a lot to the US. Jonathan Lana, I can't with him. He's amazing. And then a non-Brazilian, Daria Mickiewicz, in regards to American tribal style, Rebeca Pinheiro in São Paulo in Brazil, Aline Oliveira, out of Rio de Janeiro, and of course our very own Clara Ortiz. I love Clara. The first time I saw her perform, I went up to her, I was like, I have such a crush on you. Like her stage presence is just like Queen Clara.
And you were just in Brazil for a whole 4 years, right? Could you tell us a little bit about your dance experience there?
It completely transformed me. When I arrived, I actually found the studio Asmahan, who was run by Jaji Sharif, and I met some incredible dancers there. Dara Ahmad, Hade, of course, Jaji, Amira, Eline Oliveira, of course. There are just so many incredible dancers at that studio. And the dancers in Brazil, they taught me to not just focus on crazy technical aspects. Like the dancers there, they dance with such heart. It's just all heart. They could be doing just the most simple movement, the simplest of movements, and you'll get goosebumps. It's just like they just pull their heart out of their chest on stage, and you're just like, I can't, like when they do a shimmy, it like throws you against the back of the wall. You're just like, the incredible way that they dance there. They teach you how to put your whole heart into it, and it becomes more of an art project rather than a choreography. And so it just completely changed the way that I danced. And it's not just the dance either, it's the way that they appreciate life. Everything is how to appreciate something better and how to actually live. Like I thought I knew how to live before I moved there, and I really found out how to live. And there's something about the beaches in Rio de Janeiro. So I've been all over. And there's something about the water there. It just refreshes your spirit, renews your spirit. It's so healing. That was my office. I would go there to write my choreography. So I was spoiled. And what's amazing is in the summertime, during the sunsets, everyone on the beach, once the sun starts to come down, they start to applaud. I'm getting goosebumps, I miss it.
Oh my God, I want to go. That sounds life-changing, but you also mentioned that you have a whole family now. You're married, you have a little one. Will you tell us a little bit about your little one and how you balance your dance life with your family life?
Oh, my little Francesco, my Francesquinho. I love him so much. I just call him Frankie, my little baby Frankie. And he was actually my little stowaway from Brazil. So the day that I left Brazil, sad face, I found out I was pregnant. So he's a little carioca baby. And he's actually so Brazilian in so many ways. Just the way that he approaches everything and the way he approaches life. And he loves to dance. I can't tell you how much he loves to dance. Yeah. I think he was maybe 6 months old when he hopped on top of a drum and just started playing the tabla. I'm like, are you kidding me? And he still, every time he just hops on that drum, he loves it, and he dances constantly. So even in his like Mother's Day out programs and all of that jazz, he's pretty shy, like introvert, like I used to be. And yeah, but get me on the dance floor talking about dance and I'm talking your ear off. But whenever it's movement time, he just comes to life. My little dance partner at the first migrations back in 2017, Rose Movement Studio was on right before me. I loved watching it in the wings. But when you are, I think like about 8 months pregnant, and I thought it was one performance and it was the whole company. And I was like, oh, I had to pee so bad. As soon as I was done performing on stage, they had to cut me out of and I had to pee. And you just heard me backstage going, oh. That's the behind the scenes story from that performance. But he's such a cool little dude. And sometimes that remix will still come up on my iPhone on the car when we're in the car. And he'll be like, oh, I know this. Like he remembers the song, which is amazing.
Wow.
And that's another incredible thing about the journey of pregnancy within belly dance is at that stage, I had a hard time walking. So when I was pregnant, I actually had a pelvic girdle displacement disorder because I was a tiny thing and he was a big thing. And so he kind of displaced my hips slightly. So it was interesting because towards the end of the pregnancy, it came to a point where if I even had to go to the store for anything, I'd have to park next to the shopping carts so I could use it as a walker. But get this, when I would get back home, I could belly dance. So I would do omis until the sun came down. Yeah, and it felt amazing. And another sidebar for any belly dancers who are gonna be soon to be mommies, the omis get you through a lot of the contractions. So for this first 7 hours of my contractions, which by the way, were back to back, 2 minutes apart, natural, and I went into active labor at 0 centimeters. So not fun. But the omis helped for the first 7 hours. Oh my goodness. So I really learned even more about the therapeutical aspects of belly dance when having a child. So that's a new aspect of life that I'm taking on in regards to my dance journey. As before, it was mostly just choreographies and projects and more dance projects. Now, after going through the pains that I went through when I had him, I love my son to pieces, but I had a toxic pregnancy, and I gained about 70 pounds during my pregnancy, and it was because of my reaction to hormones. So I don't even take birth control because when I do, my whole body goes crazy. So imagine the hormonal fluctuation when you introduce pregnancy into a body like that. The physical recovery was tough. Even after 24 hours of natural labor, we ended up having to have a C-section. That's another journey in itself. But I experienced about a year of severe postpartum depression too. And it came with insomnia. I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And through the lessons that I had to go through and recovering from that postpartum depression, which I never thought I would even dance again. Like I packed up all my costumes into a container and I'm like, nice knowing ya. In the piece that I did at Gulf Coast Rocks last year, that was about my recovery from postpartum depression. I am on a journey now to be the person that I was in search of when I was going through that time. So it took a lot of finding the right therapies, not just in a mental capacity, but physical as well. And that's when I came across Hatha yoga and Pralaya yoga. So because I had the elastin in my system, which all women who are pregnant and just gave birth, it stays in their system for a long period of time. So when you're trying to recover from your postpartum condition, a lot of time you'll have frequent tendinitis, which I did. Or you try to run, say, you were an avid runner, your pelvis is gonna start to hurt, everything hurts. And so you get this frustration because you want to recover and you really want to get back to a certain state where you were. So your mental goals are here, but your body is down here, and you just really have to give yourself grace, and you have to figure out a way in order to be able to do that. And luckily, I found the way to do that. I wasn't really that big on yoga before. I can't, put my foot behind my head. I can't do any of that stuff. I looked at it more as Simon Says than anything else. And the flow classes, I'm not a big fan of the, flow classes of, do this, do that. until I found Hatha yoga, which is more alignment based. So you stay in the pose for a long period of time, and it's more about the sensuality of the pose, and almost like when you're wringing out a towel, like twisting it, you're using all of those muscles, and it's oxygenating the blood. You actually create new neural pathways in yoga as well. That type of yoga, as well as pralaya yoga. I'm an instructor for that. Her name's Allison Bond. She's amazing. She actually got into pralaya yoga because it deals more with the joints, and she was able to avoid hip surgery because of it, which as a dancer, hello, ding, ding, ding. I recently received my certification as a Hatha yoga instructor. I am going to be starting school again. So I'm decided to go back to school to get a degree in physical therapy, specializing in the muscles of the pelvic floor. So I'm going to integrate those. When I was helping a friend of mine with a private lesson that she had, integrating a lot of the therapeutic movements that I was doing from my background in belly dance with her yoga, and she gave me the feedback up from the student. She's like, oh my gosh, she loved this, and this was amazing, blah, blah, blah. Because some of the exercises and some of what you think would be good for a woman in a certain stage of pregnancy is actually counterintuitive. So you would learn from experience what works and what doesn't work. So after helping her with that, it's just another light bulb went off in my head. So now it's like, okay, time to educate myself even further and integrate the therapeutic aspects of belly dance with PT and the muscles of the pelvic floor, the abdominal walls, the whole 9 yards. And I'm just like this is my second calling, and to integrate the two worlds and bring it back to you guys for some killer workshops once the plague is over. Yeah, it's basically just becoming the person that I was desperately searching for. Because honestly, pregnancy and having a kid, it's a second puberty, and it's a whole bunch of shit that no one prepares you for. But you become so much more aware of your body, and you gain this additional portion of your senses that you didn't have before. If you go through some of my dance videos, you'll notice that there is a certain elongality, a certain quality that my dance has gained after I had my son, a certain legato quality. I use musical terms, so a lot of time when I'm describing movements, I'll be like, this is more staccato or this is more legato. So very much more liquid quality in regards to my dance. So more smooth versus when it was just pa pa ra. Before very, very harsh. Now I have more smoothness to it and a more motherly quality in my dance now than I previously had. So it's not that it's different, it's that it has an added quality.
Thank you so much for visiting today, Raphaella. It was so great to get to chat with you.
Thanks, you too.
That's it, guys. I'll be linking all of Raphaella's information below so you can keep up with her dance ventures and any opportunities that may arise to learn from her or see her perform. Check out Raphaella's YouTube channel for some of her amazing performances and collaborations. Today's Patreon shout out goes to Allison Gregory. Thanks so much, guys.